So some reaction to the Gauteng State of the Province addressed by Premier Panyaza Lesufi. We're now joined by Gauteng ActionSA chairperson Funzi Ngobeni. Funzi, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. One would say he counted a catalogue of things that he promised 12 months ago when he was speaking, and where he has delivered on those 7,000, for example, Mapanyazas or wardens for proper wording, and you've got 2 helicopters, a drone, you've got 6,000 CCTV cameras, you've got some arrests on the Ukai Mulau, on illegal miners and some syndicates that are operating in the Gauteng province, pointing to a promise he made on fighting crime. What's your reaction?
Look, I think we need to appreciate some of these positives. But I think the Premier is correct to say they've dropped the ball. And even today it was, in many instances, a missed opportunity for him. But I think, we can't shy away to say those that were lucky to get employment into the schemes that Panyaza has created, which some of them we're still challenging in terms of legality. But we wish them well, because one person off the street, and getting a decent work, it's something that we will celebrate. But it needs to be done legally. The Amapanyaza Tabo, our contestation is that we are risking their lives. They have not been trained properly, and we have called for them to be recalled from the street, to be taken for further training that will eventually make them competent, so that they can be able to not ensure that we are safe as residents, but themselves as well, that they are not risking their lives. So they've dropped the ball. It's 30 years of government of the ANC, and we tend to forget, because in the province it's been uninterrupted. They've not had a coalition before, anything of that sort. They've been running the province alone, and they've destroyed the province. The province, if you assess it and you do a proper assessment, because the state of the province should be a proper assessment of what is the mood of the nation, what is the mood of people of Gauteng. And if you do that assessment, you'll pick up that 2.2 million of our youth are still unemployed. You'll pick up the high crime rate, which most of us, we are living in fear. Even in items where we should be celebrating this government. For example, the housing mega projects, that they came up with, which some of them are mostly in the West Rand, in Randfontein. I went to do an oversight in some of those, and it's a total mess. The contractors that they hired there, they've done shoddy work. In some of them, they've abandoned the sites. So they've totally dropped the ball, and I think they are aware that they are going to be shown the door come April. That is why they are going out of their way to come up with the schemes that they have come up with.
With the rebound from COVID-19 sitting at 449,000 jobs, what's your view on those jobs and the quality of those jobs, but also Gauteng as the economic hub experiencing an increase of 96,300 jobs, with 31,300 jobs just in the last 90 days?
Look, Gauteng can do much better. I think we all know that SMMEs in this province are not fully supported. They always talk about township economy, but you'll realize that SMMEs are closing shops. In most cases, they're not getting full support that they should be getting, and I think that's where we need to focus on, because government alone will not be able to do anything to this unemployment rate. If you going to ensure that SMMEs are successful, you need to give them sustainable electricity supply. You need to make sure that there's water running. You need to make sure that the roads where they need to transport their goods, it's there. But in all these issues that's supposed to be economic infrastructure that drives the economic growth, they are failing, and they've been failing for the last 30 years. I mean, they're talking about the inner city. When he speaks about the inner city, you will think that this is something that they just discovered. But these are issues that we have been highlighting for so many years to say, here is an opportunity. Inner cities of these metros, in Tshwane, in Ekurhuleni. In fact, even if you go to places like here in Krugersdorp, in Mohali City, those inner city buildings have been hijacked, And every time when we raise these issues, we were told that we were xenophobic and so forth. But this is where they were supposed to have been focusing. This is where they're supposed to have been ensuring that they develop, affordable housing so that we can be able to move our people from the periphery, from your Orange Farm, from your Deep Sloot, where they are very far from economic activities, and bring them closer to those opportunities. But that they've failed. They've introduced now the Commission of Inquiry, on things that we know exactly what's the causes of these hijacked buildings. Is a breakdown of the rule of law. And we just need to bring that back. We need to make sure that we train our police. We need to make sure that we appoint our police without involving politics into it. Let the best men be able to do the work of the police, But at the moment, unfortunately, that's not the case with this government. And I think they're fully aware. I was thinking that this is probably a deja vu because, in 2016 when they were about to lose power in Johannesburg, the ANC in Johannesburg, prior to that, was doing all kinds of schemes. And there was Josie at work. There was so many things that they were doing, trying to save their schemes so that they don't lose power. But it was already too late, and residents already decided that they are going to bring in new government. This is what we are seeing now, that ANC has lost power. They know that they won't come back at the end of May. They're making all kinds of promises that the new government that is coming will have to obviously then have to run with them, or at least manage those commitments that they've made, because they won't be there themselves to do so.
I gather as ActionSA, then you're taking the word of the Deputy President that the elections are going to be at the end of May. That's what you're gunning for, that's what you're preparing for.
We are preparing for that, Thabo. We are ready. Our posters have been delivered here in Gauteng. We are already, sending them to all the regions of Gauteng. So we are ready. Our activists are ready. And we are ready for the 22nd of May, whether it's the 22nd or the 24th, but it has to happen. The president needs to actually proclaim. We can't wait for him to do so, and he must stop playing around. I think let's get to elections and get a new government that will serve the residents of South Africa.
Big announcement that would have been a big albatross on the neck of the ANC in Gauteng in the previous election would have been e-tolls. Panyaza Lesufi seemed to have released himself from that albatross with the announcement he made today to the people of Gauteng.
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't get that part, Thabo, but I mean, even in his last speech, he did indicate that they're still working on something. And he's
well, he was a little bit more concrete. Says the e-tolls will be off by the end of March 2024. They will be off.
We will
see.
We will see. I mean, I mean that that's victory for South Africans. That's victory for the people of Gauteng. I mean, this is a government that actually was trying to fight off the residents on this matter. You know, they did everything that possible to actually discourage us from fighting this issue. You'll remember David Makura tried everything, and from time to time he kept on making promises that this will go. And we'll see, even these promises that have been made by Panyaza, whether by the end of March it will be gone. It's not surprising, Thabo. I mean, we know that they've made commitments in the past. I was looking at the last speech that Panyaza delivered, where he spoke about the solar farm that was supposed to be erected somewhere in Rafo. And to this day, that solar farm is nowhere to be found. He repeated the same thing today. And we can't trust them. We will have to wait and see. But otherwise, they are going out of the office at the end of May. So we'll be able to resolve these issues and move with South Africans forward.
Acquiring 18 hospitals from the private sector, I mean, whichever government comes in, would be, I suppose, stuck with some of these things that they're already putting in place. if they are not done properly?
That's the biggest worry that all of us must actually consider, because they are making all these commitments. We don't know where they will be getting the money from. We know that South Africa doesn't have money and we are living on debt. You know that the economy is not growing, therefore not many of us are taxpayers, because or at least contributes to the fiscus in that way. But it's we'll see what they are putting together. In the last state of the province, they spoke about the state bank, state pharmaceutical agencies. We don't hear that in this particular speech. So they are making all kinds of promises, but we'll have to see what exactly they are putting together, whether that thing will be able to materialize or not. But again, there's so many commitments. He spoke about 40,000 people that will be coming from the townships to become artisans and so forth. And all these things. If I was ANC, I would have done them 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and today I will not be worried that I'm about to lose power. Therefore, I have to do all kinds of things in a short space of time to try and rescue myself from losing this coming election. So this is what they are doing. We are fully aware, but their time is up.
Gauteng chairperson for ActionSA, Funzi Ngobeni, appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming on. After the break, we'll continue with more reaction to the State of the Province address. EFF will be joining us. Stay with us.